My name is Charito, and I am a jazz singer, educator. I live here in Tokyo for the past more than 3 decades. I will not go further than that, but I have lived here since I was a teenager. Actually, I joined an audition back in early uh, late 80s, I should say. And then I got married, and I have a family here. I was I was a student in the Philippines. I was only in third year college when I joined an audition for just out of fun, out of adventure lang. Kasi, I was, this was during actually the hard years of our government, our country, when my family decided that we all move out of the country. So we are one of those families. And my family actually moved to Canada. But it just so happened that I left just a few months earlier kasi nga I won the audition. And I was in UST. I was a student of mass communication there. And out of curiosity and adventure, nanalo ko ng first place sa isang audition. And I was placed in a city called Sendai, and there was this music club that they were really into the music, and that was my first time to work here, and I was very fortunate to have joined a Japanese group, a band, and I learned, and that's how I found out how music was, very much appreciated here and acknowledged. In the beginning, since I was just a student, laro lang, I did not even think of it as a career. Kasi you know how it is back home, when you say you're a musician, it really wasn't taken so seriously. But for me, I just wanted to have 6 months vacation and sing at the same time. So I spoke with the dean of UST at the time, and she actually was against it and said you cannot do two things at the same time. And then I promised I will come back definitely. But then when I arrived in Japan and met these great musicians who I was so very fortunate to have worked with from the beginning, I saw that it could be such an art. And that's how I set my mind. It completely changed my outlook, my totally new horizon, that music is my thing. And so I began to really, really study hard. And that's how my music life started. In the beginning, I didn't know. I mean, I've heard of jazz as jazz because I grew up listening. My family, my parents loved to listen to Ella Fitzgerald records, Johnny Mathis. Like back in the day. Our at least my generation, my family loved to listen to this kind of music. I didn't think of it as jazz, but for me, I was also listening to Astro Gilberto, Sergio Mendes, the bossa nova, all kinds of things. And I realized quickly enough that I could absorb so much music, And jazz came much later, because in the beginning I was, alam mo naman lahat ng Filipino magaling magkopya. So I could sing almost anything. And at that time, the place where I first worked is, they wanted us to sing hits, popular hits, and so I was able to do all this. But then after I was getting paid well, but there was a hunger inside me that somehow I said, I don't think I'm just gonna, finish my life or do this kind of work all my years, just singing in a club, doing the same old routine. And then I was introduced to jazz. Because I was able to listen to a lot of records of so many greats, and then that's how I slowly found out that it's such an art, and I cannot get enough of it, because jazz is creation in the moment. It's about improvisation, actually. Of course, this doesn't happen overnight. You have to really study. For me, studying was working. And so I was very lucky because I got paid while I was studying, and I was able to work with so many musicians. I also did a lot of studio work in the 90s. And then my first CD was out in 1990. And slowly I was able to build my career here in Japan. And many years later, I have 17 CDs now under my belt. My challenge would probably be that I got separated from my family because I embraced a life here. But for me, more than a challenge, I took it as a process that this is the way that I'm gonna go. But to be able to go through the process, I was gonna, create a method for myself. So I studied and I learned the works, and then I was always shooting for good gigs and and work with great people, and then traveling. And I was able to travel a lot. So this really helped me, and I realized that the world is really very small, that I could do things so much. So pretty much not so much challenging for me, but always like a process that I needed to go through each and every time. I was very fortunate to have had these opportunities that I could meet international artists here in Japan. First of all, I was able to see Stevie Wonder, Charito, like elbow to elbow, because they come here all the time. And so, and there's so many anecdotes that I can tell you, but that will take me so long. So these experiences led me to meet so many people like Nancy Wilson, and that gave me the inspiration to strive higher because I was being blessed this way. And the recordings helped me to go outside. A lot of my work has been recorded in the States, New York, especially, and then in LA. I was able to go to Brazil and Europe, Paris, recording in Paris as well. Yeah, so one thing leads to another because I just so love and enjoy my work. That's why, yeah. Goodwill Ambassador, yes. I guess it was naturally a role for me because I was fulfilling my dreams, and people looked up to me as a role model in many ways because I could earn the respect of my peers and around, and making a name for myself. And so I wasn't really very much aware of that. I was just trying to do good in the best possible way that I could and create an example. Because back in the day, many years back, a lot of Filipinas were not treated with respect only because the work that was done in the past, not anymore. I mean, there are still some, but a lot of them were domestic helpers or entertainers. So mga fly-by-night. So they were very transient. So they really didn't have the chance to understand the culture here or live as a community. These days we have these communities already, but back in the day, so people would tend to, think like Filipina. So, or there was even a term called Japayuki, which I hated so much. I was interviewed by Japan Times before. What do you think? I said, you're just seeing 1% of, that is not the Filipino, because if you like what I do, then there's many more like me. This how I kind of like, in my own small way, in my own little role, I was able to, create a better image, I think, yeah. Because we care, this started in 2000, the year 2000, because I'm a churchgoer. Filipinos are 85% Catholics. And so naturally, we all have this qualities of giving, very charitable. So, since I started this school, I call this the Voice Music. It's a very small studio, but I've been teaching here since 1994. It's a long. Only because I'm gonna go to the only because I was given such a challenge. This probably was the challenge. Charito, you should share your influence. I was still in my mid-20s when you have to influence this young singers. What? I'm still, I myself, I'm still finding my way to learn, as an artist. But then, no, because you're such a good singer, then maybe you could start teaching or you know, just sharing your knowledge, whatever. So I said, but I was trying to avoid that for at least 2 years, until one day, two students came to my house and said, please. And then that started all of it. And so I started to teach in a music college. They wanted me to teach. But during that time, so they just, you know, you come, you know, only the days or the hours that you want. And you just so I did. But then after 2 years of that, I got very tired because they would really, you know, lumping all the students, and there was this, you know, not so good and advanced, and I said, can we try to classify the students so that I could, you know, could guide them accordingly. But they said, no, Charito, your time is so limited. So that was the time when I started, okay, this feels more like a factory to me. I don't think this is the way you educate people. So when I started to move away from that college, the students followed me. Please, please, please. And so I was looking around and found this place, and I own this now because I bought it during those years. And I started teaching. And now I have this whole bunch of singers, lots of them. And, you know, not all of them are good. So, and I'm going to church. Why don't I do something about it where we could, you know, use our talents more productively? So I formed a group I called it the Voice Club. So choir sila, big choir, like between 30 to 50, and then we do the annual charity concert, which started in 2000. So in the beginning, you know, I made them go look for places where we could sing, like mga ward office. I went them to Minato Ward or Shinjuku Ward. You go check and volunteer us. And then, you know, we started singing gospel songs and choir songs. And then I said, let's go do the church. And that's how Because We Care started. This Because We Care not really foundation anymore. It's just an organization that I'm the promoter. Became a charity concert, and the funds that we make, I bring back to the Philippines. Not just the Philippines, but also we're also helping some institutions in Japan. Well, I wasn't really trying to make it big. I was just pulido lang. I just wanted to do my work as good as I can, and you know, one little step at a time. And I guess this applies for everybody. When you're given a job, then, you know, I always tell my students, you know, if you're given a job of wiping the tables, make it the shiniest table, right? And then for my case, I bloom where I'm transplanted. So this is really very basic common sense. So not to abuse your host, but, you know, make them proud of you. And so now in my later years, I actually feel very good about, you know, having been able to connect myself to the Philippines more and more and more by doing not just the charity care, but I started Tokyo Manila Jazz Festival, Jazz and Arts Festival, because I'm a musician, I'm a jazz musician. So I started, there is something that I could do more for the Philippines. So I started that in 2012. I invite Filipino jazz musicians, aspiring musicians even, and then I brought it back to the Philippines in 2013, and it became so big there. I was able to involve young artists, Philippine Youth Symphonic Band, and many young aspiring artists, just to inspire them that, you know, you could do this much for the music. Not just to sing what is there, but create your own, that kind of thinking. So since the beginning, we started it in Manila in 2013. I have a partner there who helps me as well. And every year it's been going on. And this year, what I'm doing is I have partnered with Japan Foundation, who's very good to us, because they actually organized everything for me. So we're giving free workshops and concerts at University of the Philippines and University of Santo Tomas, November 7 to 9. This is free. And I'm bringing with me two great Japanese superstars, jazz. And we will be giving the workshops, including mine. Building my work to what it is right now. the music that I have done, that and it's not just the music, but really becoming more aware of not just the music, but how it affects the community around you, and how you connect. I'm considering TM Jazz, Tokyo Manila Jazz, a bridge that connects, a bridge to jazz, a bridge called jazz, I call it. So I have also traveled many countries, so wherever I go, because music is so universal, even if it's French or German, we don't really talk much, we just play the music. And I say thank you for making me, or inviting me, and giving me this opportunity to be a messenger of peace through my music. I never really branded myself as Filipino lang. I am a Filipino, or I guess in my later years, all of us can be a citizen of the world. We cannot be identified to just one identification only. But because I'm a Filipino, I am very, very proud of it. And she's a jazz singer. She's done this and done that, and she's also a Filipina. Because we are very good. And also, especially when I travel, there's so many people tell me, Filipinos are good musicians, but we need more recognition. Especially in the jazz, I think we very little, because it's such a niche market. And jazz is, really elite kind of music. Not elite because you need to study a lot, but you really need awareness and education for it. And that's what I'm trying to do, have awareness and education to, prosper more, or make more creative things through music. Since the new administration, actually even before, when the noise started about the elections, his program, his campaign became very eye-catching and very appealing to us, not only me. Before that, we really just, kind of float and, Filipino. There is like, oh, wala na, ganon na lang, like a quiet acceptance of what is there. And but really, nagdudugo puso namin, because, when you have gone to many countries, why is the Philippines airport pa lang natin is so like that? So when he started singing, our president started singing a new tune, then all ears. Even my family, my sisters who never expressed interest before, lahat sila nakaglue. Now we're exchanging, news or, updates about what's going on. Only because we see, and his love for the country is infectious. And we wanted that. Now he's given us so much hope that there's really, serious changes. And it's not just lip service. We see that's really happening in such a short time. He's done so much. But people forget that, because, there's more negativity that's being played. And it could be expected. For me, it was such it's like a jump to heaven. The Japanese love the Filipinos, I believe that. And if we could really, continue to work on this bilateral relationships more and more and more. There's so much, any relationship, if you work hard and good on it, I'm sure, Philippines is gonna rise up to where it belongs, no longer the sick man of Asia. As I said earlier, bloom where you're transplanted, and it's the only way to go, because I believe in hard work, but not just work, loving your work, no matter what kind of work that is, and make yourself proud, not others, but you. Make yourself proud to be where you are and to add color to the community, love and awareness, and peace.